Hey moguls, it's Dr. T here, coming to you with another mogul upgrade today to help you mogul on up into your mogul reality, creating your amazing empire, your dynasty family, becoming a power couple and a leader of a new sovereign reality that is happening right here, right now, in the transformation of humanity that is taking place. And I just wanted to share with you a bit more about what we do here at the Moguls Club and really sort of like an official address here from the Mogul Office, if you will. The base of the International Moguls Club and all of the transformational programming and advising and creating that we do, with the focus of what is effectively the rise of a sovereign civilization that is in progress. And, today I am here before you, not as a marketer, not as a content creator, not as a coach, but really as a sovereign creator and as a founder of a new earth civilization. And I wanted to share with you a little bit more about my journey and why I do what I do and what it's about. Because I also was born into a system that promised freedom, but operated on survival programming, the ownership and enslavement of people, and the extraction of them for the purposes of a few. And for me, as I successfully rose within that system throughout my lifetime and really, really focus so much more on anything like well beyond a job, a profession, a position, a leader. And I really lived inside my true purpose on every level that I possibly could. And the higher that I rose in that frequency, the interesting part as you move through the frequencies of reality from the lower levels, death, shame, guilt, fear, anger, all of these things. And as you rise and rise and rise, as we program our moguls to do, and as our team has focused on for years, and as I live and breathe, raising my frequency through intentionality every moment of every day as my life's absolute purpose. One of the interesting, sort of unexpected things was that the higher I got, so far beyond, the levels of love down in the 400s, the levels of joy and peace, and so many different great frequencies. But as I rose and rose higher and higher up the frequency, well into the 700s, 800s, and on so many occasions being able to live in a frequency so close to the 1,000 level frequency of complete truth and purity and light flow for humanity. That the more I lived in that frequency and would be in it as much as humanly possible while interacting in a 3D human realm with all of the requirements of the false system built on enslavement, the higher I got in that frequency, the more of the false foundations of a simulated reality were revealed to me. And as truth does, it transformed. And regardless of how difficult it was to face these things and just want to keep, just creating and leading and doing the things that were so deep in my purpose, and creating really a global impact in leadership, bringing people from whatever frequency they are into a mogul level, which just means a very positively, powerfully influential person that is transformative and is leading as a leader in the new world. And as I got more and more into the frequencies of truth, anything that had been programmed into me, into my infrastructure, from the field of that reality, that simulation of reality, that false reality, that enslaving, extracting reality, as I was able to see what was built, thinking I was so purposeful more than anyone I ever knew, but feeling how this was in the system, and I was marinating in this system, and it was everywhere around me. It was in everyone that I knew. And these false foundations were revealing themselves to such a great degree that truth was really transforming me in a level that I mean, I knew the concept, but to understand what it does to purify reality and anyone that will venture into the high frequencies of truth and its alchemizing transformative properties. The truth is that so many aspects of what I thought was such a very purposeful reality um, just demanded to be faced and dissolved. And I came to see that merely continuing to rise and do all I could to create prosperity for so many and to be in prosperity myself so I could live my purpose out for humanity, the more I saw that I was trying to rise and create prosperity within a sick and broken system, the more I saw that it simply could not be the success story that my own operating system, my own human design system was designed to do. And the pain was realizing that as much as I lived inside my purpose, almost having it be some sort of a salvation bubble where transformation of myself, my team, our clients, their realities, their families, their companies, and honestly, this sacred like world that we built, um, the more I could see the outside influences continuing to penetrate because we were just surrounded by the extraction parasitic mechanism of survival programming that has truly enslaved the world. And the more I tried to do what was spiritually higher within a broken system, a broken environment, I realized that it was becoming a form of its own spiritual entrapment, which is what the enslaving parasitic survival system programming that we've been in for millennia as humans continue to try to ascend this very basic level of just surviving. It just became something that had to be transformed and required me to make shifts in myself and what I was doing, even though all I wanted to do, like all of us do, is just grow and scale positive impact and do what unfortunately sometimes transformation of certain things kind of lets us think, well, these other things, they'll be okay if we don't transform them. But the reality is, we must purify ourselves into high frequency beings, or we cannot receive our full potential existence. We cannot create the world of the full potential human and see it actualized. And it was just something very, very, very painful to face, and something that just required me to choose the path of transformation and purity and sovereign creation, or to know that I would effectively eventually likely just collapse under the parasitic system the way that we see most of humanity and especially the people in the West doing at this point. And I chose sovereignty. I chose truth, and I chose to go further and further into it and define anything within my own system that I had absorbed. And I chose to leave a system built on lies. And is the hardest thing I ever did, to choose to undergo the most profound transformation one can experience, which was the full detoxification of my being. from everything that was not truth, everything that was not me, everything that I had absorbed within that environment where extraction is just from the top down and manipulation and all of those things that create a system of taking and extracting and like a Hunger Games type of reality rather than a system that is built on high frequency, continual expansion and amplification of quantum sovereign wealth that just keeps expanding into infinity. And to undergo that kind of transformation of my being is something very profound, because all the years that I trained and led and advised and helped people understand that when we transformed ourselves, we transformed the whole reality. But that also anything that the previous self was building on something false would also appropriately dissolve as it was being replaced with something much, much higher frequency and more purposeful and pure and more wealthy and sovereign by every account. Um, and that effectively, that when you reprogrammed your own programming, you reprogrammed your reality. And also at the same time, that the reality is you cannot live in two worlds. You cannot uh, want to live in a high frequency but exist in a low one, and not become a part of the extraction process and the downgrading of humanity by just continuous extraction of each other rather than complete development and amplification of high levels of flow that is circulated through a population, amplifying itself more and more, raising people up the frequency and providing a wellspring of truth and prosperity. And the programming of all of this meant that any parts of my reality that were built on the false system, the false self, things that were just enabled, the whole population enables this in each other. And it's like, this is what everybody's doing. And you don't even realize. Um, and it's quite a stripping down and a purification process, and the reorientation of having only myself and the relationships that I have, the partnerships with the moguls that we support at the Moguls Club and in this mogul reality, and all of the creations that are part of my world, to really only align with the highest frequency of truth and only with the divine intentionality of the greatest intentions for humanity at the absolute highest levels, so far into what the high frequency reality can create, and just an absolute raising and rising from the lower frequency survival reality program. And as I had my whole life just trying to fix a broken system, relationships with broken people, fighting so much of my life to help everyone, and I know just raise up to a higher frequency of intentionality, and recognizing that I had spent my life trying to fix a sick system. And I realized that wasn't the strategy. And I chose not anymore to fight a sick system and anyone that represented that sickness, trying to force some transformation to be able to live in a very high level relationships with people that I deeply care about. And I chose again not to be a part of the sickness and enable it with my presence, my energy. And I chose instead to create the transformation, to build a new system, because creation is the ultimate transformation. And ultimately, I realized I could no longer enable even the most treasured relationships if they were built on maintaining falsehood. And everywhere I tried to speak the truth, to own mine, to create relationships were so much more based on the truth of what was occurring how myself and my loved ones could transform. Ultimately, I could see that the parasitic system had pretty much gotten to everyone, and I felt like I was in an echo chamber all alone so much of the time. And the saving grace is my team and my clients and their desire to expand into their full potential. And yet, I needed to go further. I needed to accept that I had to fully recover from anything and everything that I had ever absorbed, and the trauma of being in such a survival system and matrix and simulation of reality, and move toward the real thing, which is life itself. I had to effectively be stripped down to the core, being willing to release any lie, anything I ever built on some fantasy that something was better or more than it was, and be willing to see the truth. And I released steadily and over time everything that kept the lies alive, and just moved into reclaiming my sovereign self and the energy field of that sovereignty as fully as I could, day after day, month after month, really over the last few years, and intensively over the last couple of years, and maybe even excruciatingly over the last year. And I say that being someone that would say, in every moment of it is worth doing. Because in doing so, I have reclaimed not just my life, but even my sovereign name, design, and purpose. I'm Tracy Elizabeth Thomas. My name means powerful messenger of God, star guide. Um, and I'm a 5/1 human design projector, which is a visionary who can see and feel the future, guide people to it, help elevate them in the frequency. And ultimately, my system is a transformation mechanism, way more than me being some sort of a personality. My 5/1 system is a revolutionary scientist, an innovator, a challenge solver, a new systems creator, a reality scientist, a transformational leader, and this very design that I have been able to come more to terms with, even if people don't understand it, I do. And it is built to transmute reality fields, from low frequency to high frequency, to the frequency of success, and to create upgrades and lead humanity through a dimensional ascension from 3D reality of the Industrial Revolution and everything that was built, but also entrapped us there, into a brand new era of exponential human transformation and multidimensional living. I definitely was never meant to be trapped in survival systems, as my system was designed to elevate and really liberate people from them. And by reclaiming the full wealth of my human design, running intentional high frequency truth through my system, I now amplify my sovereign signal into the world for the benefit of every other emerging mogul, and really the essential creators and builders of the new civilization. And with that, I just wanted to share more with you about what is occurring in reality, and help all of us understand that we are standing at the end of a long, long, arduous journey. This is a journey through millennia of survival programming, where humanity has lived in a dim simulation of life, barely animated, just barely breathing and clinging to existence. Today, we stand at the threshold of something unprecedented, which is the dawn of a new civilization, which is an era of vitality, prosperity, and infinite sovereignty. And the great thing is that this shift is not random. It has been encoded in the very architecture of consciousness. And we are now moving through the gate 55 transition, which is a great transition for humanity. And it is here, and it is all about the gate of the spirit. And this is an evolutionary frequency that is here to transform humanity from survival based programming into an era of absolute high frequency prosperity, sovereignty, and spirit led creation, our true self, creating what we are here to create. So, Gate 55 really represents the mutation of life itself from the programming of fear, scarcity, and control into freedom and abundance and sovereign alignment with our divine source. You're alive at this time because you carry a piece of this evolutionary blueprint with you. And you're here because you're part of the great upgrade. And we are here to create a mogul reality, a world where all beings live in vibrant, radiant life force aligned with divine source energy, building amazing transformational dynasties, empires, and sovereign realities that elevate human experience into a divine destiny. We are here to transcend survival. We are here to transcend this survival simulation, and we're here to reclaim true life and know what that is. So I wanted to just share with you really that the International Moguls Club, and as it's been evolving from the different brands that we have been for over 13 years, always focused on high levels of transformation and moving through different aspects of transformation to come to even fully understand exactly what we are. And I can say that because so many years I've tried to describe what this is to other companies that were here to help us express who we were into the world. And I know that this International Moguls Club was really ahead of its time many years ago. And people that were trying to help were just wanting me to present it as something that fit in some sort of already some reference point that people already knew. Otherwise, run the risk that people would not know what this is. And that is survival based programming at its finest, where I was here to bring something new and in some ways still felt the pressure or had pressure there to blend in with the rest of what everyone else is doing, which is the very survival programming itself. But the International Moguls Club and this community, it is not a conventional company, and nothing that we have ever been has ever been conventional. And where it really stands right now is it is the first sovereign investment network for a new civilization. Okay, because while we do all kinds of amazing things here, we're not just existing here to just sell you some services, right? We're not here to be just transactional. We exist to cultivate sovereign mogul leaders and investors who create the new world, who transform it by creating their amazing creations, and who invest their lives, their resources, their families, their life force, and their hearts and souls into the creations of this transformation of life on earth. Our clients are definitely not just consumers, and more than anything, they are partners. And we are partners with them building a new mogul reality, a new mogul economy. And the truth is, they are co creators of a new human dynasty reality. And every transformational program, every one of our maker brands like the Empire Maker, Dynasty Maker, Mogul Maker, Power Couple Maker, every one of these, every reality we build with any one of our client partners is a portal of transformation, all totally designed to fortify sovereign beings into the dynasty makers and empire builders of transformational realities of the new age. We are not here to be part of the old system. We are not here to extract in some old coaching model where only a certain amount of transformation is done because we're not doing it at the level that we need to do it. We are here for the deepest, most profound, and highest level transformations. We are here for quantum transformational journeys that expand our moguls into the top leaders in the world, the top creators of a new world that we all need to exist. We're here to expand. We are not here to transact in some old way, some superficial exchange, something that, while it may yield an ROI, does not yield a new world. And we are here to transform. We are here to transform leaders into new reality makers, moguls, and rainmakers of a new sovereign reality for humanity. As part of what we do, we are not here to feed the old parasite survival programming that is running and running and wants to engulf anyone who attempts anything and get it into its clutches to just do something in order for the business to thrive. It is not how we roll. We do not feed it, we do not enable it, and the moguls that show up here to become part of this amazing reality making process, creating their own empires and dynasties within the transformation dynasty of this mogul reality field. They are sovereign builders, and we're creating a system of flow, right? Shifting a system of extraction that takes from everyone and gets everyone to extract from each other to a system of flowing creation that keeps flowing amplified wealth and prosperity to everyone. Each client partner is really an investor in a new reality. And while they appear to be investing in a Moguls Club transformation, they are creators of a new reality, investing in living their highest level as dynasty makers and empire makers and power couples and moguls who lead us into a new era of exponential reality, an era that we have no frame of reference for. If ever there was a moment of the unknown, this is it. And the number one skill is going to be the skill of transformation. The number one priority of any company is going to be transformation first, and the transaction economy will dissolve as it is impure and corrupt. And while all of the different empires and dynasties that we are in the process of building and will build will do all kinds of things that are producing and serving and leading and creating and innovating, at the heart of it, everything is about transformation. Everything is about the elevation of our frequency, because if any one of us does anything in a lower frequency, we automatically lower our frequency. We cannot receive prosperity. We lower the frequency of reality itself, and we are then complicit in the downgrade of humanity and where that ends up. And at the same time, we are responsible to be the powerful, influential, intentional mogul leaders of a new era, right? Planting every sovereign seed in what is effectively a dynasty reality in formation. So we can exist as a amazing high frequency, sovereign, reigning human family dynasty where wealth and flow circulate and expand and bring people effectively back to life or into life for the first time, allowing their high frequency experience to show them what life actually feels like compared to the death programming of the extracting survival system. So this is all very critical to understand, moguls, because each dynasty and empire we build is not merely just a structure of prosperity for our mogul client partners and their mogul client partners as well. This is not just a company, a business, a structure of prosperity. More than anything, each of the empires and dynasties that our moguls build, as they grow into rainmakers, reigning over their reality and helping their clients do the same, more than anything, the creations of our moguls that are just upgraded and helped facilitated through the frequency of a mogul reality field that we have here. These creations they make are a portal. They are a gateway of transformation. And whatever any of our client partners and their client partners are doing in that process, whatever is being produced, whatever's being serviced, whatever's being accessed, it is all about transformation first. And any quote unquote transaction is a result of a high level transformation, because the way it is, we have already learned this lesson that while people in the age of industrialism and the capitalism experience um, are able, as people do, to access resources. And they're even able to stockpile them and hoard them, like the mental disorder of hoarding and what it is. Um, but in reality, uh, that's not leadership, right? That is not creation. And in that process, when you are creating to simply transact something and you do a transaction, but you don't have a transformation in it, you may put some resources in your bank account. And in fact, you may put a lot of resources in your bank account, but you will do what is called a spiritual bypass. And you may have the money, but you will not have the upgraded reality. You will not have the frequency. And what is true is when you live in a high frequency, you will always have flowing, prosperous reality. But we already learned the lessons of people putting money in their bank account while downgrading their frequency and downgrading another as they extract from them. And what we have is a minority of rich people who are mostly, in my experience, of the ultra high net worth and high net worth people, still hungry, searching, and trying to have money fill a void that can only be filled by transformative fulfillment that leads to prosperity, not money minus the transformation of one's own soul in an ascension path through this human journey. So when you replace transformations with transactions, and the transformation is the strategy for everyone involved, you then receive the transformation. You receive the high material creation of a high frequency being tapped into high frequency flow. And this is the definition of wealth that can only be if you are both high frequency and your prosperity comes from flowing prosperity versus just extracting money and being effectively in poverty. We already know the lessons of this. We know that it's destroying humanity, and we know that this is why we are in this amazing upgrade where every new sovereign mogul is not just creating for themselves, they are anchoring a living portal for the great upgrade of humanity. Each of these transformational companies that we help co-create with our client partners, each empire, each transformational family dynasty, and each reality we establish along with these incredible, just inspirational, transformational leaders and emerging moguls becomes a wellspring through which the sovereign frequency flows into earth, upgrading all who engage with it accelerating, fortunately, the dismantling of the extraction matrix, the empowering sovereign life that we're wanting, and allowing it to come into existence and take root everywhere. Every mogul here is not just an empire builder or a dynasty creator. Our moguls are actually portal makers. They are transformative leaders and a wellspring for humanity's transformation into sovereign creation. And the truth is, this is why your creation matters. It is not personal wealth that anyone is really going for in reality. We already know where that leads us. And it is not just a company here to create personal wealth for another extracting dynasty or empire in the world. Far from it. That is not the mission that we have here, and it never has been. This is not just about gaining money and riches and more Lamborghinis. This is about planetary transformation of our whole reality. The way we really feel here at the International Moguls Club, and as each new mogul arrives to become creators of the new world, is that's what they feel like. They are builders of a new world, of a new way, of a transformative prosperity flow, of people who are changing industry, taking things like the real estate industry and all the gritty impurities in what should be one of the greatest ascension platforms that there is in the world. These are folks that are dynasty founders of a new sovereign civilization and well springs of an age of mogul level reigning over your reality, sovereign level creations. And this is what we are about at the International Moguls Club. So there's a sovereign invitation for you. If you feel this call, the next steps are simple. Take a moment, get your free human design chart to understand what your sovereign blueprint is. You can see that in the links that we have here below. Join the International Moguls Club community. Step into this wellspring of sovereign empire building and dynasty creating. You can click on that link as well. Learn more about the great upgrade that is in progress and activate your place in the sovereign ascension of humanity and join in this process. And in a proactive way, you want to choose the transformation of yourself, your family, your company, your dynasty and empire, and your overall reality. And as you step into the mogul realm and you make that commitment to be a mogul at a minimum, someone who operates with positive power and influence for humanity, influencing and leading, role modeling and transforming, what happens is you become a rainmaker. And not just the rainmaker, RAIN, of just deal making and money flow, but a rainmaker, REIGN, reigning over your reality, reigning as a co-leader of this world, creating it to be what we all need it to be, and finally doing something for the future generations so we don't become just another survival-based cohort of people who deliver the next generations more and more of a mess to clean up. Because what we can see right now, folks, is what the younger cohort has inherited is such a mess. They cannot fix this for us, but they can follow the role modeling of people who step up into their moguldom, their adulthood, out of the survival programming of being a traumatized child of a system, an emotional child who finally, thank God, wakes up to create the very world that we always needed, and the next generation and the one after that needs us to build. So they don't have to clean up more of a mess because it got avoided again and again and again. There is only so long avoidance will literally do anything other than create more and more crisis. And we are at a point, we are at a precipice where creation is the strategy, because we are not here to fix a broken system. We are here to create a new one. So whatever you're doing, know that you're not just building a business, right? Which is fine, but it's not that high of a frequency. Building a business, the frequency, the level of business is a word that has a pretty low frequency, actually. You're not just building a business. You're not just growing a company. You are building a new civilization of reality for humanity. And the truth is, you're not just creating an empire or a dynasty. You are anchoring the future of life itself for humanity and the heirs, the successors of all of us here that are living this life now and the people that will follow. Again, you're a wellspring of creation. And if you are here to be positively influential, you are already a mogul. And you are here to grow as a rainmaker, reigning over your reality in all of the different mogul capacities that allow you to do that, in all the different areas that we help our moguls create new reality in new areas: financial, real estate, health, wellness. And you are that mogul rainmaker. You are here to be a king and the queen of the dynasty. And when you become a mogul, and when you're at minimum on the path toward that whole aspiration, you finally start to feel that you are home, because this is what we are created to be. The great upgrade, folks, is going to happen either way. The survival-based world is dissolving moment by moment because it cannot sustain the frequency required for life to flourish. And only what is built on truth, on intentionality, on purity, and on high frequency flowing intentionality will remain. So think of it, because what we create now, what we choose to build with sovereign purpose, will stand forever as the living testament to humanity's true potential, to what we can become when we align with the real power of life and creation itself. I'm so excited for all of you to come further in to the mogul reality. I really thank you for receiving this upgrade, for tuning in to becoming more of a mogul. In the description here, there are so many options and resources for you, and we would love to connect with you, hear your story about living in the survival programming, what you're wanting instead, what you're here to create, and connecting on ways that we can support you on that journey and have you be part of the mogul reality and the great upgrade for humanity. There are also other videos with greater levels of mogul immersion to keep you upgrading into this, effectively into what is a mogul conversion from you, from any part of yourself that has ever been in a low frequency or experiences that intermittently, to someone that can live in a high frequency of prosperity and flow. I'm so excited when I get to connect with all of you, and I look forward to you reaching out and connecting with us too. All right, moguls, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.